It's May Day, don't you know?
Happy May Day, Ben
Happy May
Lawrence.
Day. And how's it happening?
How is it happening? So that noise that you hear, which is the sound of my voice, lets you know that the podcast has started.
Paul Goody.
Ben Lawrence, we already did it, sort of, but hello again. And let me tell you, this thumb that I've got here that I'm showing you on the for hey,
You're...
if you wanna see which thumb I'm talking about, uh, watch the YouTube live stream. Um,
Otherwise, we're gonna keep it a secret.
it hurts, Ben. It hurts.
What did you do?
I, I, I know. I jumpstart the funk. Everybody, look it up.
I jump started the funk with my thumb.
So I scroll my phone like this,
Yeah.
and after so long of doing that, it's been overworked, and now when I try to lift up something using this hand, my thumb really hurts.
One of the dangers of doom scrolling these days.
Yeah. So
Repetitive stress injuries.
this is what I do now. Every once in a while. So one, two,
Oh, you're doing hand
three,
exercises?
and if I want to do it crazy, it's like this: one, and then do that. Two, three. You do it 15 times, and it really.
We don't need to do it 15 times on the show.
Right, right. Well, nobody knew that I was doing it 50. Well, some people did, maybe. But yeah, so it sucks, Ben. It's
It
too bad.
sucks, Ben.
So
I'm sorry
yeah,
you feel
yeah.
injured. I do have a strain, like my left forearm is kind of strained right there. I don't know what happened, but it like the muscle is tight right there. Like I can feel it when I like do a bow wow Bowser move. Um,
Yeah. Do, 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 do.
oh yeah. Um, who Bowser? The precursor to the Kool-Aid Man.
Hey, now wait a second. Do we know for sure that Bowser wasn't the voice of the Kool-Aid Man?
For sure, no. Presumably, I'm assuming he wasn't. Whoever
The
that
Kool-Aid
actor.
Man might have been based on the Big Bopper, though, too. That's also a possibility.
Oh yeah.
If he had gone crashed to the wall and said, "Oh baby, that's what I like," then that for sure would have been
He
stolen.
big bopped right through that wall.
Exactly. So I'm running into kind of an interesting quandary regarding this thumb thing, though, which is that I still want to use my phone, and I don't want to just switch to the right hand and make that work
God, you're
bad.
not a monster.
So what I've been doing is I've been holding the phone, same hand, but instead of scrolling with it while I hold it, I've been doing this like a
With
Philistine,
your
like
other hand.
like poking my phone with my forefinger.
You don't need to. You don't. Oh man, I'm feeling called out. I was actually called out at a group in a group recently because when I type on my phone, like when I text, I use one finger. I don't
Yeah,
like I that's how I text on my phone.
yeah.
I punch it out with my index finger of the opposite hand. And that's just how I've always done it. And besides, the phone these days is too big. I can't reach the entire screen with the thumb that is holding the phone. I have
I
to
mean,
use the other hand.
you can, but what'll happen is your hand will hurt. Um, because I got a smaller phone. Part of the reason is because my hands are, and also Ben, look at this, right? When you do the thumb, you're moving this one thumb joint like this. When you do it with the finger, you're actually moving your forearm. Wait a second. Which forearm do you type?
My left one.
Is that the one that
Yeah, it's the one
is
that
causing
hurts.
interesting. Our phones hurt us, Ben. No matter what.
Yeah. I mean, My phone. I have a 14. I just had to look up what number of phone I had. I think they're on the 16 these days. But the reason I can't reach the entire screen real estate with my thumb if I hold it the way I hold it, which is propping the bottom with my pinky so it doesn't fall out of my hand. If I don't,
that's what I do as well.
If I don't do that and just palm the phone, then I can reach, but the phone does not feel secure in my hand.
Well, they have the little buttons on the back that you can get to that allows you to.
Yeah, I don't like to because my phone lives in my pocket, and I don't think that would work well in my front pocket.
The smaller phone is really working for me.
Yeah.
Except that my thumb really hurts. But it's not the smaller phone's fault. It was already hurting beforehand.
Yeah.
I once again have to reiterate that the blue licorice circles are really good. They're actually spirals. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah. Uzumakis. I believe you. Those look really good. I would. I'm trying to eat less candy these days. Otherwise, I would go out and buy some of those. They do look. They do look good. Do they make your tongue blue?
Not that I know of. But then again, I don't have as
How
many
often
people looking at my tongue
do I
these days.
look at my own tongue?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it depends on if it's Tongue Thursday or not. I couldn't. It should be Tongue Tuesday. Now that I think about it,
Tongue's Day.
Today's Thursday, which is why I was thinking about it. But yeah.
Rent is due today, or I don't know when your mortgage is due, but.
Oh, Ben, we talked about this last time, but I'm paying my mortgage twice a month.
That's right. You are. I forgot about that.
The first twice monthly mortgage payment. Now again, remember, we're in sort of dire straits a little bit this week. Not super bad, but almost. I'm running low on funds because I had to pay an extra mortgage payment in order to move to this other thing.
Yeah.
So I've already paid May's mortgage payment. The payments that I'm going to be making are the ones for June, which is, kind of crazy. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Your mortgage company right to you and say, hey, you can skip a month of your mortgage payment. And it's like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that.
What's the casualty of skipping a month? Do they add on a surcharge the following month?
They don't. I don't believe so. But what will happen is, you'll be paying off your principal less.
Just takes
and all that
takes longer.
Whereas for me, now that I'm moving to I have this extra payment that I'm doing, and so that is going to be the 10th. I believe it's the 10th, and I want to say the 24th. But it's going to shift. It's going to shift every so often.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm building up the buffer, Ben. Have I told you? Oh, this will be great for the podcast. People love listening to my
personal finance talk.
So here is the way that I have been working it. The bills that I pay are now all automatically taken out.
Yeah.
So I don't have to pay, the bills are taken out. But we've got some things that are shifting, right? Our bills are like, hey, this week it's 87, next week it's going to be, 140 or whatever. It could fluctuate.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the companies say to you is, hey, do this, you moron. Sorry to use the M word there, but that's them saying it.
I don't think the M word is problematic yet.
Do this. Go ahead and wait. Is there a different M word that I can't think of? That's what we should do, Ben. After we do this, let's go all the way through the alphabet. What word is the? Okay, so, I think we can do that. Just get your beeper ready. I don't want to do it too much, but okay. So, this is the idea, though. They say, we will look at your usage and we'll give you amount that you pay every month, so that you'll always, make up, like on days when it was going to be a little bit of money, you'll pay more. On days it was going to be more money, you'll pay that amount. And
Are you talking
over
like
the
a
year, you'll
utility
be
bill or
square.
something?
Yeah, utility bills. They say it's like budget billing. They call it.
Okay.
So instead of
Just
paying
annualizing the cost over the year.
right, and then splitting into 12,
Yeah,
basically. But the way that I'm doing it, and I think it's the smarter way, if you're bad at finances like I am, over the year I figure out what the highest bill number is, right? So let's say for my gas it's $300, right?
Yeah.
In my budget, I put $300 for gas, right? And I just take that out. It's $300 for, and if I don't spend $300, if it's only $200, right? That $100 gets rolled into my bill account surplus or my overage, whatever you want to call it, so that I'm saving up this extra money, quote unquote. And eventually what will happen is once it gets to, this is the basic plan. Once it gets to $5,000, it could take a while. We don't know, but once it gets to $5,000, then I will be taking whatever is excess of that and paying off more of my mortgage with it, if that makes sense. So if I pay an extra $100 every month, right? Within less than 5 months, I'll pay off another $1,000 or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And that time that I think I said in less than 5 months. That's not how math works. I said it wrong, but you get the idea.
As long as you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find another $400 a month for health insurance.
Ooh.
I don't know if I talked about this. I didn't. So I'm on the Affordable Care Act marketplace, right?
Yeah.
Colloquially known as Obamacare. Have been for a number of years, and I've always received the tax the tax credit on my health insurance. Right.
And what does that mean? Can you explain that a little bit?
A plan, let's say your plan is $600 a month.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
You make, let's say you make less than X amount of dollars, right? The government considers X amount of dollars. If you make below this amount of money per year, they will subsidize your health insurance for you. So
what does subsidize mean?
Subsidize means you only pay, let's say they'll subsidize $400 of your $600 plan. So you only pay $200. The government is pretending to pay the rest of the insurance company. I'm sure there's behind the scenes dealings that going on, but what it means is you get a bill for $200 every month for your health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the year, when you do your, so like I've been doing that since the program started, you know, and for the last few years, I've kept the tax credit, but I've made more than the government will allow the tax credit, right? So when I do my taxes, they say, oh, okay, you made this much money. Here's how much you got in tax credits for your health insurance. You now need to pay that back. And so for the last few years, I've had like quite a nice return reduced to an okay return because I've paid back the tax credit that I was given to over the months. But see, here's the thing. I'm a freelancer, right? So some months I have more money than other months, you know?
Yep.
So that's why I kept it. And it's always been a large pain in the ass to deal with. It's been like getting the tax credit has been like receiving an interest-free loan that I just paid back, you know, in April with my tax return.
Right.
So this last year, I don't know what happened. Something happened. Instead of receiving an okay return, I owed the government money. I owed almost $3,000, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was all due to having to pay back the tax credit. So when that happened, I went into the marketplace and I'm like, okay, just remove the tax credit. I don't want to have to deal with this anymore. So that's why my $200 a month health insurance bill is now $600 a month. Which is, when I lived in Mr. House, that's more than what my rent was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I'm not too happy about that, but at the same time, at the end of the year, filing my taxes is going to be a little easier on the pocketbook when it comes to having to pay back. Because, like, I owed, you know, I sent the government a lot of money last month because I owed money on my taxes and I had to pay my 2025 estimated taxes. And the thing about when you pay your taxes as a freelancer, you can't be like, look, this is where I want my tax money to go. I want my tax money to pay for firefighters and for infrastructure and education, you know. But my tax money is going to deport U.S. citizens to El Salvador and bombing other people and Gulf trips. I'm not too happy about all that.
Yeah, so I have something that's sort of adjacent to that. Now, we know that we don't talk about work here. I'm going to say one thing in the vaguest possible way. Let her ride. Papa's feeling lucky tonight. Come on, lucky 7. No, when I say that I'm going to be vague, is what I mean, Ben. So I live in Illinois, and I live in Chicago, Illinois. Annually, and this isn't about living in Illinois, this is just in general. Sometimes when you work at a company, you have training that you have to do every once in a while. You know, like I need to make sure that I am up on the latest whatever laws that apply to me in my position, right?
Yeah.
And so every year I have to take those tests, right? You watch a video, it says this is, we're gonna talk to you about let's say I'll make up something. Let's say it's about payroll. This is how you fill out your payroll, and these are the new changes that have happened. Now we have these new codes that were added in 2025 that you need to do for your payroll, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So and normally it's like, for me, there are like 7 different things that I need to watch, right? Of all these different like rules and stuff.
Yeah.
When I went in, because it's my birth month, so I was going to do it. When I went in to do it, the sexual harassment thing that you normally take was readjusted as the Illinois mandated.
It's
sexual
all
harassment
okay now.
thing.
Thanks.
Well, this is the thing. I was taking it, and I still had to take it because I live in Illinois, which makes me think
it's the Illinois rules.
That for some people it's no longer mandatory. I don't know if that's true, but
maybe because they think it falls under the umbrella of DEI, and DEI is the boogeyman these days.
I mean, one of the things that was on this test was, you're not allowed to use, you want to use the people's preferred pronouns. That was in here. It was a thing that the training said you want to do.
Yeah.
Dead naming someone is not okay. And when that was happening, when it's like you have to use somebody's preferred pronouns, and you can't use the name that they used to go by, then it's time to play If I Was a Conservative Comedian.
Oh, God.
We've talked about this every once in a while. I don't know if we've done it on the podcast, but we have done it in person. Here's the new one, which is Yeah, have you noticed that liberals keep dead naming the Gulf of America? And there you go. That's all. That's all I got. But I
But
think
I'm
it's
bummed.
good. I
Shay.
think it's good. I think it has legs.
I can totally see someone like is it Larry the Cable Guy? There was a blue collar comedy tour. Was that were
Hmm.
those a bunch of conservative? There was like
They,
Jeff Ingval, Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy. I may be getting some of those
oh
right or
God,
wrong.
White. The last name is White. Ron White.
Ron White? I don't know who that
I
is.
think.
I'd probably recognize him if
Great.
I saw him.
He's the fourth guy, I think. And the thing about him
I'm actually gonna look this up.
is he had some good the people that I like in that group. And do I like any of the people in the group? Yes, Ron White.
Bill
He's the guy I'm
Engvall.
thinking of.
I called him Jeff Engvall. His
Yeah.
name is Bill
Is it-
Engvall.
Is it Ron White though?
It is Ron White, yeah.
Ron White says some things that challenge
Status quo.
the people that listen to Ron White, basically. um, and he said
I now want to be
he had
known
this-
as Steve.
he had this bit about how every man who watches porn is at least a little gay, and it's really good.
Never heard it. I've never heard it.
He's talking to a friend of his, and he's like, "Let me ask you a question. When you're watching that pornography, he's got a sort of a southern accent, and he's usually holding like a tumbler of a drink and maybe a cigar or whatever. And he's like,
Just leaning into it, huh?
do you want him to have just like a little shriveled up thing there, or do you want something with a little more girth to it?" And in this scenario, his friend is like, "Well, of course I want." And he's like, "Okay, I'm just saying, you got to think about this sort of thing." All right, Ben, let's go with it.
He's got a point.
The A word.
Oh, God.
Now, how are we going to do this and not have to censor everything that we?
Look, we can do this. We can just say, look, we may be swearing or saying
Yeah.
bad things for the next X minutes. Don't listen if you don't like it. Because if we're going to be saying bad words, okay, here's the thing. We're not going to say things that we don't feel comfortable saying. I'm just going to say that straight up.
Yeah. The A word is probably asshole.
Asshole was what
right?
I was thinking.
B word is bitch, obviously. C word.
Butthole.
Oh, maybe. But okay. It's always they call them the blank word.
Oh yeah,
The-
yeah. Oh,
the
what
word
is
that-
what is commonly known as the beach?
Yeah.
We're not making these up. Yeah, beach or yeah,
C word. We know what the C word is.
we
We
know
don't
what the
have to
C
say
word
it.
is.
The D word. Is there one? Ben. The D word is dummy.
Dummy?
You should never call someone. Isn't it?
Could be
I
dick.
think it might be. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Don't be a dick. Yeah. Okay.
Dumbass.
The E word.
Eeyore.
I don't think so.
No, there's no E word.
The F word. Yes. Now
We all
here's
know what
the
that
thing.
one is.
The F word actually isn't what you call someone. You say the F word. I mean, it stands on its own as a four-letter word that it takes the crown.
I was talking to a friend of mine. You're a friend of mine, John Kaufman. He was giving me a ride home once after a show, and I can't remember. Like, we had gone to see a play, and there was a lot of like gratuitous swearing in it that we were talking about. And Johnny was like, "Look, I don't have a problem with the F word. I think the F word is fine." And I'm like, "Johnny, I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Just the fact that you're calling it the F word tells me that you have an issue with it."
The G word, God?
No,
Maybe there's no G word.
I don't think there's a G word. If there is, I don't know it.
H word, hell. Maybe. The I word, nope, not that I can think of. The J word.
It's not
could
called
be
it's not called the J word, but it could be a slur. A racial
There
slur?
could be a J word.
Yeah.
It's weird when the word itself is also the racial slur.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. J word. The K word. Not really.
Another similar racial slur.
Yeah. The L word. Obviously, there's a TV show about it. So, the M word.
You
We've already
never
said.
hear it
This is
called
what.
the L word except for all that. I never watched the show, so I don't know why it was considered like a faux pas to say the actual word, or was it? I don't know.
Well, maybe it's just people were afraid to mention it.
Or they couldn't
Gauche.
they couldn't sell the TV show if it was just had that word as the title.
The M word. This is what started this. Ask
Moron.
if there was one. I think moron might be. Again, some of these we get into like grade school, right?
Yeah.
Um.
We
Okay, the N word.
we know what that is.
Yeah, know what that is. Next one, the O word. Oprah. I don't think there's an O word.
She does have a magazine that's just called O.
Yeah. The P word.
P.
Well, yeah, P.
Pipsqueak.
The
Q word.
Q word. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, we know
there's
what that
one.
one is. Yeah. The R word.
Obviously.
Again.
The
The S word. Shit. Probably.
Most likely.
The T word. Okay. I think that there is a T word, and I think that there's a congressperson who loves saying it because it makes people mad.
I don't know if this is it. There's a word that we used to use that is now, it's not so much problematic, but like people in that community don't appreciate that word.
Yeah.
And so we've all stopped saying it. But before then it was like also it wasn't like it was the early 2000s. We didn't know.
You worked at an auto parts store.
Yeah,
Occasionally the word may have been used.
It's also it's also shorthand for the way the engine runs, transfers power to the wheels.
The U word, there is no U word. The V word.
Yeah,
it feels the V word. I guess so. Yeah, I was thinking the V word sounds like it would be a spin-off of the L word, but about vampires. So the W word, there isn't really one that I know of. The X word, obviously xylophone. Don't know why it's offensive, but X is always xylophone.
Xenophobia.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Y, the Y word, no.
Y doesn't stand for no.
The Z word again.
Xenophobia.
Well, I was gonna say it's like the L word and the V word, but it's about zombies.
Yay.
So there we went through all the words, man, and there are several that really, are ripe for the picking. Make up more slurs, Jet Alpha.
I was Gen Alpha. When is is that now? Are those the kids today?
Gen Alpha are the kids today. So Betty is the generation before Gen Alpha.
Is that Gen Z?
Right? Gen Z,
okay.
Yeah. And she is.
It feels like
19.
It feels like there are so many generations. Like the generations are coming on fast and loud these days.
It's because we're old, Ben. That's what it is.
It just feels like there's, I think like there's a lot of Gen X erasure, which, my response to that is whatever.
My response to that is, yeah, I'm Gen X and I remember erasure. Sure.
You had the greatest generation, boomers, Gen X, and then all of a sudden you got Gen Y, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha.
You have the silent generation. The greatest generation. Oh, the greatest generation, the silent generation, the boomers. So the silent generation are kind of like the old school Gen Xers because they don't get talked about a lot. The Great Generation fought in World
Well,
War II.
if they spoke up a little bit, they'd,
Yeah, exactly. So my adoptive parents are silent generation folks. They were young children during World War II, like in their like
yeah.
infancy or toddlership.
I just looked it up. There were people born between 1928 and 1945.
Yeah, and so my mom.
Also known as the traditionalist generation.
That sounds right. Also, and so this is the thing, right? Gen Z kids might have had boomer parents, or they might have had greatest generation or silent generation or traditionalist parents. Jennifer was
Grandparents?
a former. I was the latter. What?
You said you said Gen X might have had who as parents?
Either the traditionalists or boomers. One of the
Right.
two.
Okay, yeah. I didn't hear boomers.
So did your is your are were your parents boomers? Probably, right?
Yeah, but barely by 5 years. Yeah, my parents were both born in 1950.
Okay. So my my biological parents are boomers, and my adoptive parents are traditionalists. And there's a big difference,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, so like for instance, I wasn't really a latchkey kid, right? Were you a latchkey kid, Ben?
Why, yes, I was, Paul Goody.
Describe for the listeners who may not know what a latchkey
I
kid
feel like I'm
is.
explaining everything. A latchkey kid is a kid who had both parents at work when they got home from school. So I had, unlike my parents' generation, where they had one, usually the mom, not working and staying home, that would be home for the children when they got home from
Hmm.
school. A latchkey kid was a kid who had a key to the house and got home and sort of like took care of themselves, gave themselves an after school snack. In my case, I had a list of chores I needed to do that my dad left before he went to work. And basically, you were sort of self sufficient for the time between getting home from school and when your parents got home from work. In my case, it was a couple hours. A lot of TV
Now,
watching in that time or homework.
I will say, I was sort of a latchkey kid because my dad, so he was a pastor, right? My adopted dad worked next to the parsonage, or no, he lived in the parsonage, sorry, which was next to the church that he worked at.
Yeah.
So he had his study and he had the church. So he stayed in that area for a while. But he would have to go out occasionally to like visit people in the hospital and stuff like that. And so I would sometimes have to take care of myself when I got home from school, especially if like my siblings were at after school activities, etc.
Yeah.
And I bring this up because my dad did something pretty cool, which is that the key to the house, right? They didn't want to have every kid have a key to the house. The kids could lose the keys, etc. So they kept a key to the house on the dog. Now the dog was an old English sheepdog who was on a cable
Yeah.
that was attached to the garage. He had a dog house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so we would, because we knew him, we would walk up and, pet him, take the key off, and then use the key to get in the door, and then put the key back on him, which is pretty cool. And especially like if you had a pit bull or something like that, that would be even more of an incentive
That's That's pretty clever. When I was a kid, we had this Irish setter who did not like anybody but us. Right?
Hmm.
She basically barked at everybody. Even my friends who were over a lot, we couldn't be around the dog because she would just go crazy.
Hmm.
But loved us. Like I would come home and she would just stay by my side if I was watching TV or in my room doing homework. We probably could have kept the key to the house on Wingo because nobody would get near her.
Hmm.
The thing is though, she was in the backyard and the front door is in the front yard, so there's no way to retrieve the key unless I had to open the gate to the backyard, which I guess I could have done. But I remember when I can't remember how old I was, but when my dad first gave me a house key, he safety pinned it inside my jacket pocket.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't carry a wallet until I was uh, a freshman in college, and even then, I didn't like it.
I can't. I think I did. I don't think I had a wallet. No, I had a little Ghostbusters Velcro wallet. I was gonna say I didn't have a wallet until I got my driver's license, but that's not true.
Um, yeah, well, I had my license taken away before I started college. I'd gotten into so many accidents.
Taken away by the state or by your
Yeah,
parents?
by
Okay.
the state. Um, Carrie Kenny actually came over, and no, I'm kidding. The state, Ben. It's a,
Do you?
Did I
You
get
don't
that
have.
right?
You
I
don't.
think I got that
You
right.
don't have HBO, right? So you don't watch. Have I got news for you?
No, what is that?
It's a news quiz show based on a British panel show, of course, and
Huh?
hosted by Roy Wood Jr. The two team captains are Amber Ruffin and Michael Ian Black, and there's a rotating cast of rotating guests each week.
Hmm. That
Um,
sounds like a good lineup.
it's fun. It's like a 45-minute show. I think it's a little long for what it is. They could probably
Hmm.
cut it down by half. Um,
Okay.
and normally I only say that because I usually just like when it's on, usually just watch it like right before I go to bed because to has sort of like a palate cleanser if I've been watching TV all night.
Have we talked about the panel show Would I Lie to You?
We probably have. I haven't seen it.
Okay, because it's on Amazon Prime sometimes.
Yeah.
It's on BritBox when it's on Amazon Prime. I mean, sorry. There are episodes on BritBox. There are also episodes on Amazon Prime. And I get BritBox through Amazon Prime, so it's all Amazon Prime to me, baby. Jeez. But the basic idea
Cancel
is
your
that
Amazon.
is that a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is, especially here in Seattle.
Here's the thing, and make of it what you will. I like the fact that the president doesn't like it, so
The president
it
doesn't
makes me feel
like Amazon?
Amazon, yeah, because they're going to start showing the tariff. Uh, rate.
Oh, they're not going to do that anymore. Trump talked to Bezos.
Hmm. Okay, well there you go.
That's what I heard. That
Maybe.
Amazon was going to do the tariff cost for all the products,
Mhm.
and the Trump administration was like, "No, you can't do that." And then Amazon's like, "All right, we won't do that."
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that, Ben. Now that I'm a Costco member, I don't know. I am tempted to get rid of my Amazon stuff in general,
Yeah.
but especially now, you've got me thinking about stuff again. But anyway, Blue Origin, Ben. Apparently,
I guess
now
Katy Perry went to space. That's basically all I know about the why Blue Origin is in the news lately.
when I was working at Amazon, Blue Origin was a a rumor that was verified by some people that worked there. If that makes sense. I'm not going to say who told me this, but somebody said, "Yeah, Blue Origin is a real company. I know because my weed dealer sells weed to them." So
that weed dealer's got some loose lips, man.
one of the things that was interesting about it was that they had a 3D printer at Blue Origin.
This is probably before they were like desktop appliances you could buy from Costco.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Before we knew what they described it.
Yeah.
But the way they described it is, if you need a part for something and you don't have it, they have a machine that will actually make that part out of plastic for you, etc.
Oh, now they're 3D printing houses.
I've only been doing that for a little bit.
Yeah. A few years. I haven't seen one in person, but I have seen like the process of making it and like the final product. They look fine, but I don't know if I'd want to live in it because it is basically a concrete shell.
They've been printing schools in Africa. That was one of the
that actually that makes more sense than like a home. There's one, I guess, a prototype in Austin that I actually worked on a promo video for, and it does not look comfortable. I'll just say that.
Did you edit it, or did you actually go to Austin and
No. I just I only received the footage.
So the one thing the reason I said they've been around for a while, 10 years ago, when I was working running cables, one of the things that people were like were, where are you gonna run the cables in a concrete 3D printed place?
Yeah.
How are you gonna do it? Do you know? Did they talk about wiring at all?
No, I'm just assuming that once the shell is completed, they drill holes to run cable. Or
maybe.
On the inside they could just put up they frame out the walls, even though the walls are printed in concrete. They could frame them out so they can drywall and run the conduit behind the drywall. I don't know. I'm making all this up.
I guess you could maybe, depending on how the printing works, make a hole in it. Just say, hey, don't pour. Like make a trough or a trench or a.
You could. I mean, it spits like a layer of concrete or whatever the building material is, right? Mm-hmm. So you could, like, if you know where the thing goes, like place a pipe there.
Yeah.
During the pass that at the height that you need.
That would make the most sense.
Don't know if you'd be able to do it lengthwise within the wall, but certainly you can create a channel at some point.
Have we talked about
or just drill through it when it's cured?
Yeah. As built versus the initial blueprints?
In what context?
So, one of the big things I talk about to people whenever we're working with software and stuff is that you need the 2B and then the as-built. 2B is what you want it to look like. As-built is what it actually looks like.
What you want it to be.
So, for instance, let's say that you've got, you're looking at the blueprint and you have a thing saying, okay, well, we're just going to run a tray and put the cable in the tray, and the tray is going to go through here.
Yeah.
And you're going through there, and you come across an elevator shaft. You can't run cable through an elevator shaft. It famously
the elevator
breaks
wouldn't like
the cable when the elevator goes through it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So so you would move it around it, and then if somebody has the as-built or the 2B built blueprints, whatever, as designed, whatever you want to call it, they wouldn't see that elevator. So whenever you're trying to like sneak into a place or do anything crazy, you want the as-built blueprints so that
Just
it's the latest of what it actually looks like.
just a pro tip for all you people trying to break into buildings and you have a set of blueprints.
Exactly. Don't pay for the speculative blueprints. They're not going to do you any favors.
Because people
I keep
just put in elevator shafts willy nilly in the building. You never know when you're gonna
Exactly.
come across one.
So yeah, I feel as though I probably am not going to be able to see Sinners in the theater, and the reason I say that is just because I don't have money and or time and or inclination to go to a theater, but I really want to see it.
I've heard it's quality on the big screen. It's actually playing at the Cinerama right now, but I don't go see movies anymore.
Yeah, me neither. Isn't it weird?
The last one I
That
saw
used to be one of the things you and I used to do all the time.
all the time. It's how we
Yep.
would spend time together, is go see movies. I think I mentioned this recently. The last movie I saw in the theater was Furiosa, which was at the Cinerama.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah, we did mention that.
yeah.
Oh hey, speaking of mentioning things, it can now be told the person whose resume I read through for the artistic director
Oh.
of Annex Theater is the artistic director of Annex Theater now.
Approved by the company and ratified by the board.
Yep. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So we have we now have a new artistic director, and we're working on developing the board, and because we have I think 3 members of the board, and by law for certain things we need I think 8. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure what the final number is. But one of the big things that is keeping us from reinstating our liquor license here at the theater is that our board is undersized. To have a liquor license as a nonprofit, you need a board of I think it's 8. And so once we get the board, then if I know there are certain people who want the theater to get a liquor license, or certain people who don't want the theater to get the liquor license back. It does come with an extraordinary insurance cost, so there's but does that outweigh the income that you would get from selling alcohol during plays? So I'm sure that will be a discussion this year at the retreat.
Liquor or no liquor? That's a.
Where the sun don't shine.
I think it's okay that we say this. We can talk about at one point in time, Annex had a banquet license, not a true liquor license, and that was because the bar wasn't open all the time, so it was an event.
Are you talking about something in the recent past or in the deep past?
Oh, deep past. It's something that I remember.
Oh. Yeah,
Maybe it isn't true, and everything I've said is a mistake.
There are certain limits on banquet licenses. So I don't know what we did in the past, but we try to use them these days pretty sparingly.
Mm-hmm. I think there were some changes as to how they worked, in fact. Yeah. I think that was part of a conversation.
That's possible.
Because remember, I was there before 2000. So time was different then. Things were different.
In the year 2000. Time was different.
We should mention also Um, Ben, was it you that told me about Hot Ones from First We Feast?
Maybe.
I don't think we've ever talked about it on the podcast, but we might have. Conan O'Brien's performance
Oh my god. Dude went
was
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, that was astonishing. Do you remember who your first Hot Ones guest was?
I think it was. Gosh, do I remember? I don't think I don't think I do. Um,
Cuz I think the first guest I saw was Gordon Ramsay. Have you seen that?
it might have been Gordon
Cuz
Ramsay, but I don't think
I
so.
think that one might have gone viral early on in
You
its
know,
lifespan, and that's how I saw
Ben, that might have been it. But I don't think I even watched the whole thing. I think I saw a clip of it.
it. Famous Paul Goody.
Yeah, exactly. It's the way I live my life, Ben. I don't know
Clip
what to
by
say.
clip.
Oh, hey, speaking about which,
Speaking about which,
we um, there is a thing that I do sometimes, which is play video games. You know about it. I've finished the blueprints, but I haven't explored all of the mysteries of it. But I have moved on.
there's a game called The Blueprints.
It's the blueprints.
Oh, The Blueprints. Yes, you have mentioned
and
that.
and it is all about blueprints.
Right.
Um, I still love it. It's still great. But I've been playing the remastered uh, Oblivion that came out recently. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. You get to create your own character class if you want to. You can create your own spells if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
Leave them all
It's,
behind.
it's fun. It's a fun game.
Shake them
I've been
off.
playing it. Jennifer, however, is not enjoying it as much. And there's another game that she's playing, but it's basically a platformer. So she is, even as we speak, going to be starting a new game. And it's got a crazy title, and I can't remember.
Of which
It's
you're
like
trying to remember right now.
Exhibition 33, something, something, blah, blah, blah. Like one of those long names, basically.
Yeah.
And so I'm very excited
Me.
to see her play and enjoy something.
I'm not a gamer, but I do have my Nintendo Wii, and I do have a few of the old school Nintendo games that I had as a kid loaded onto this Wii, so I can go back and play Ninja Gaiden. I can go back and play Batman. I can go back and play all the Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3.
I'm nodding. Oh
Paul's
yeah,
nodding.
you mentioned Super Mario
Yeah,
Brothers.
and in fact, when I first like hooked up my Wii for the first time after years of not having it hooked up, I sat and played Mario 3 for a good few hours, and I swear to God, for the next like week or so, the music, and the soundtrack was just haunting me. All I could hear was the theme music, the noises that you make when you fall, the interstitials, like when you like
Yep.
select a world, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, both of those games, like I spent a good chunk of my childhood in those games. And so when I hear the music and the sound effects again, it just like immediately pops back into my head, and I hear it constantly. It's like I'm listening to it.
So the weird thing is, for me, I hear Captain Lou Albano singing "Swing Your Arms from Side to Side," doing the Mario. Here's something that is kind of messed up, and I'm sure that it's been mentioned by a lot of people, not just me. But I just thought of it right now. I was reminded of it. The Mario Brothers. The one guy's name is Mario.
Right.
It would be like if you and I were in a performance art duo, and it was called Goody instead of GudeLaurance. Luigi.
I mean, if I let you do that, that's what you would have called our
I don't
performance art
think
duo.
so. Now this is a question though. We Goody/Lawrence famously, I believe that we picked that because that's what people were already referring to us as. I don't know that for sure, but I think so.
I don't remember how we landed on that. Was that something Brett just came up with?
I don't know for sure, but I do remember that after we did GudeLaurance, I think that is what it is. That it was written on a set list somewhere as Goody/Lawrence.
He might have.
We're like, well, that's
our
what
name.
We'll do this.
Yeah.
And then somebody else at one time said, well, that sounds like a character from The Crucible.
Oh, really?
GudeLaurance saw her sneaking out of the room last night.
Oh, of course.
Which I thought was nice. But anyway, the basic idea is that, what one would have to assume that Mario is Mario, and Luigi is Luigi Mario.
Yeah.
But we don't know that for sure, do we?
What?
No, we don't know that at all.
We don't know that at all. And I haven't.
Why are they called the Mario? But now I'm mad.
Haven't put a lot of thought. I'm sure we could find like a deep dive YouTube video of and
it's probably canon now.
Went into the whole lore of how that character came to be known, and it was always Super Mario Brothers even before Luigi existed.
Okay. Check this out. You see on my
ready for the gun show. Yeah, you got a little. Did you get bitten by something?
Well, this is the thing. Is that this is like I'm noticing this right now. It goes kind of in a straight line here, like this.
It's like some little critter just like was taking little bites of you as it was circumnavigating your forearm.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, hopefully I won't die. We'll see.
We'll find out next week on the GudeLaurance podcast.
We still got about 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to show that to Jennifer, see what she thinks.
Tune in next week when Ben says,
How many times do you think I sometimes say, "Hey Jennifer, look at this. Is this weird?
Does this look infected?"
Too many. She's long suffering.
I don't want to look at it.
There. October 7th of this year, we will have been married 20 years.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
20 years. 20 years ago, I went to China. And I never came back. That's not true. I came back.
Wait a second. Hold on. Yeah, I was going to say, conspiracy theory. Andrew WK is not Andrew WK anymore. That's one of the things that people talk about. It is really crazy when...
Is he related to Louis C.K.?
No. Andrew WK is a musician. It is really strange, man. Very odd when you get someone who is a celebrity, like, this person looks like this celebrity. There's a Russian guy who looks like Leonardo DiCaprio, I think is one of... I've seen videos from him. But basically, the general thing is that when you see a celebrity, you're like, well, that's that celebrity, obviously.
Right.
Except in real life, like, the reason that you know that that's that celebrity is someone's like, oh, and here's Josh Hartnett. And you're like, oh, yeah, it's Josh Hartnett. Look at him. There he is. But do we really know? The same thing with, doubles for politicians, etc. We don't know that those are those people. We assume because it makes sense. Have you ever seen, for example, Ben, someone who's dressed kind of crazy and there are several people around them, and you're like, who is that?
That
That
must
must
be
be
somebody
someone.
important.
Yeah. And then if they were to say, oh, yes, I'm the bassist for Culture Club, it'd be like, probably, I guess, maybe.
I would have. I mean, I don't know who a lot of celebrities are, especially like pop culture celebrities who are younger than I am. And
Hmm.
so if I somebody dressed wacky on the street surrounded by a bunch of people and somebody told me, "Oh, that's Michael from this Nintendo from this Nickelodeon TV show." I'm like, I'm going to have to believe you because
Exactly.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
So, all of that being said, it is now the end of the show, Ben. And once again, I've
We've
had a
fulfilled
wonderful
the
time.
obligation.
And
Oh,
don't you know, it's a wonderful, wonderful time in GudeLaurance land. I will talk to you next week. Until
we'll
then,
find
keep it
out.
wrong.
We'll find out if your little strange dots on your forearm kill you or not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. If I'm dead the next time we speak, you will know that they did, in fact, kill me.
All right. Well, and on that cheery note, keep it wrong, Paul Goody. I'll talk